We're Lynda
and Deanna.
We're neighbors and bitches just like you. We're badasses in bathrobes.
We lift each other up every day to get through life.
With resting bitch face.
And a good dose of fun and craziness.
In bathrobes. We started this podcast because we want to live, not just exist.
As our HOA suggests.
This is a real as shit, messy, not perfect lifestyle podcast.
Perfection is overrated anyway. We're here to say you are not alone.
And you can be friends with your neighbors too.
Or not.
We don't care. We're here either way. You know what they say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
And don't throw a party and not invite me.
Let the bitch sesh begin. This is Bathrobe Bitches episode 9, Bathrobe Vajayjay. In this episode, we rant about how Lynda ended up with vagina stitches, hoe baths, and what they neglect to tell you about childbirth.
Welcome back, bitches.
I love it.
Right? See, I told you it was peppy.
Yeah. So what you cooked this week, Deanna?
A whole lot of nothing. We went out to dinner a lot this week.
Ooh, anything good? Mexican?
Yes. Oh, so get this. So the Mexican place I go to has these grilled chicken tacos it's like a slaw on the bottom of them. The corn tortilla is really good. Like there's no cheese on it or nothing like that. And I went on Friday, and I'm not supposed to have meat on Friday, so I asked them if they could please put charred grilled shrimp in the tacos instead. So they put the charred grilled shrimp. It was like the best taco I've had in forever.
Ooh, delicious.
It reminded me of the Baja street tacos I used to get in Tijuana. And, which I can't even explain. They don't even make it the same in San Diego. And it's just like right there. It's not the same. There's this freshness to it. And I told the waitress, I'm like, hey, you guys should make this like a Lent special. Like this should be on the menu during Lent, because this way is perfect. Because they had other shrimp tacos on the menu, but they all had something weird. Like this one had cheese on it. This one had, a lot of cilantro.
Cheese on shrimp tacos.
I'm just saying.
You don't have cheese on seafood ever. Yeah,
well, they put cheese on the tilapia one too. So I'm like, yeah, I can't have that one. I can't have this one. I can't have this one. But I can have the chicken one. So if I put the chicken one and I do the shrimp instead, I could totally eat that. And I know I won't have any tummy troubles. So I tell the waitress that. She said that she's going to have it for dinner. And if she likes it, she's going to talk to the manager. And if they put it as a special, I get a free meal when I come back.
I love it.
I know, right?
That's so
fun.
I'm
like, oh, I can't wait to find out if she liked it. Because those shrimp tacos were just so good. I like shrimp, but I'm not like one of those people that go out of my way to find shrimp. Mm-hmm. It's just my go-to meal when I'm not eating meat on Fridays. If I'm out, I'll do shrimp. So, yeah, I was like really excited about that.
Yeah, that is exciting. Maybe it'll help them boost some business. If they have Facebook, they should promote it on their social medias, like the Star Lent specials.
Mm-hmm. They do. Well, they will. I'll have to check it, see. Because, Lent ends next week, so it's kind of like it's a little late in the season, but it was the first time I was there on a Friday. Because last Friday, we went to a different Mexican place and tried their shrimp tacos, and they didn't have any seasoning. Like, how do you make shrimp without seasoning?
Yeah, because shrimp literally tastes like nothing.
Exactly. So I had a plate of nothing. I'm like, I don't want to go back here and have shrimp again. And if it's this bland for this bland of food, what kind of Mexican place is this? Right? Because Mexicans have spice in their food. Like everything,
of course. Everything
that I've ever had. And it's a completely spiceless dish in a Mexican place. How are all the other dishes going to be?
I don't know. They're Americans back there cooking then.
Something. Would you like a burrito?
One tortilla, please.
Yeah, exactly. No. No.
Can I have that corn tortilla?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's funny. Yeah, I didn't really cook too much this week. I ordered from Chipotle again because I wasn't feeling good on Tuesday when I took all my supplements on an empty stomach and went to the chiropractor and then made myself sick. So that was unfun.
I bet. Oh my gosh.
And then I felt like I needed extra carbs that day. So I was like, I'm just going to order Chipotle again. So like apparently Chipotle is my new go-to, but because they have good options.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a lot of stuff I want to be making that's coming up. So I'm gonna make us pizzas tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
Which is gonna be delicious.
I haven't had pizza in so long. Oh.
Tomorrow I am making one of my favorite Portuguese dishes, which is pork alentejana.
Okay.
And I'm really excited about it. So it's like marinated pork butt in this kind of like gravy, and you put it over like fried potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Super stoked about giving that a try.
Yeah. I'm going to come over and taste.
Yeah, we'll see if it turns out anything like... I know, my brain farted. Like
hello? What happened? You just disappeared on me.
Like from back home, you know,
Right,
because
yeah.
I'm from Massachusetts, so the population there is largely Portuguese, especially, you know, where I grew up. So my favorite thing to do when I go home to visit is go to the Portuguese restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to try to make some things at home.
I'm excited to try them. I haven't had Portuguese food in a long time. My grandparents on my dad's side were Portuguese. And they lived in a highly Portuguese area of the San Francisco Bay Area, San Leandro. And we always, I grew up eating linguiça and eggs and having rabbit at Christmas time. And there's a couple other recipes that she had that were just amazing. But I didn't get her recipe book, so I don't know how to make them, which is kind of sad.
That is really sad.
Yep, I got all my mom's Betty Crocker cookbooks. I know how to make all the cookies.
Every cookie.
Every cookie.
And we can't eat cookies.
And I can't eat cookies.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted.
Yep, can't wait.
Good. So today, I wanted to talk about vaginas.
Okay.
I want to see how many times we can say vagina in one podcast episode.
So, but without saying vagina, 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 vagina?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Well, because that's lame.
Well, I know, but you know, there are people that have done that just to see how many they could get in. So, you know, it's a vagina after all.
Yeah, they like to get into the vaginas.
They sure do.
So I wanted to talk about my vagina stitches.
Okay.
Which was a fun time. Which I know you know a little bit about.
Yeah.
But I was telling Jane, my trainer, this story a couple weeks ago. And she was like, you have to talk about this on your podcast. She was like rolling on the floor. Because she just thought it was the most hysterical thing. I'm like, so glad that you find my vagina pain hysterical.
Okay.
So here's what happened.
Okay.
All right. So one day I was shaving my vagina.
Okay.
One. That's one vagina.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count every time I say vagina.
I hope not.
So I was shaving, doing my lady stuff in the shower, and I noticed that, like, on my vagina, I had this, like, spot, and it looked like a mole.
Okay.
And I said to myself, this isn't normal. This is something new. What is happening here? Mm-hmm. And I was a little concerned.
Okay.
So I called the doctor, my primary care doctor, and then I have to explain to them on the phone, I found a mole on my vagina, and I need you to look at it.
Did they refer you immediately to the OBGYN?
No.
Oh,
Do you
my
want
God,
to see
that's crazy.
how many weird conversations I had with people about this mole in my lady bits? So, you know, then I called them explaining to them, here's what's going on. They were like, okay, do you want to come in today? And I was like, no, not really. How about like in a day or two? It's not like, I don't think my vagina is going to fall off right now, but I would like to get it looked at sooner rather than later. You know, so I scheduled an appointment for a couple of days later. I think it was like a Thursday. And, you know, and I was like a little concerned because James and I had a trip planned. This was like right before around Valentine's Day and his birthday, and we had planned like a trip for us to go together for a few days to Illinois to spend some time together because we haven't really been going out on dates since COVID, and we hadn't had any time together.
Right.
So, I wanted to get it taken care of before then too, or at least have it looked at and somebody tell me it's not a big deal.
Right.
Before we go on our romantic weekend vacation.
Right, yeah.
So I went to the regular doctor, which I think they also do OB stuff there.
Okay.
They're kind of like a all-around doctor.
Okay, yeah.
So I went there, and first off, like, I was panicking a little bit because I was also having my period.
Oh, I hate that. Oh my gosh.
So, but it's on the outside. It's like on the labia part.
Okay.
So I decided I was just going to go anyway and not wait until my period was over, blah, blah, blah. So I go to the doctor. I have to explain to the lady at the front desk too, again, why I'm there.
Yeah, I know. They have to ask you like 5 times, like, why do you want this appointment? And then you get the appointment. They call back. They remind you of the appointment. They say, why do you need this? Do you still need this appointment? Are you still having this issue? Can you explain the issue again? And then you get there when check in. You have to explain the issue all over again. And then you get to the doctor, and then you have to tell the doctor what's going on.
I know. It's ridiculous. And it's sort of like a sensitive topic. So I'm like looking around. I'm like, yep, I got a mole on my vagina. Can you look at it, please? So, again, I finally get back to the doctor. And then I'm going to tell the doctor, like, just so you're prepared, like, I'm having my period, but I figured you're not afraid of tampon strings. Also, it's, like, on the outside.
Right.
So then I go through everything with the doctor. I have to get undressed. Doctor looks at my vagina, and she's like, oh. She's like, we're going to send you to the dermatologist.
The dermatologist?
Yeah. I was like, okay, if that's what I need to do. And she actually was a really nice lady, and she had said she used to work for a dermatologist.
Okay.
And they see these things all the time, blah, blah, blah. And she said she didn't, she like tried to squeeze it, which was really painful. And she said she didn't think it was a big deal, but I needed to go get it looked at. So I said, okay. Then they sent, what's the thing where a referral?
Referral, yeah.
Yes. So they gave me a referral to the dermatologist, and I made the appointment for the dermatologist for Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember. Probably Tuesday. That's my least busy day when I like to make appointments. So then Tuesday comes, and I go to the dermatologist. But then I have to figure out where the hell the dermatologist is. So I find out it's actually at the hospital. So I'm like, okay. So I go there, and I have the doctor's name, and it's like Dr. Rebecca something. And I was like, all right. And there's like a big board at the hospital that tells where all the people are. So Dr. Rebecca something, not on the fucking board.
Oh my god.
So I'm just staring at the board, and nowhere on the board is the word dermatology either. So I'm like just standing there, and there's nobody at the info booth.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. So I kind of like walked back towards where I had come in, and I was just kind of like standing there, and I must have like looked lost because this guy came up the stairs, and he's like, do you need some help? And I was like, yes. I was like, I'm looking for dermatology. He was like, oh, it's up on the 2nd floor. And I was like, thank you so much. And he was like a maintenance guy. So I was like, that just all worked out. Thank you, universe. So go up to dermatology, and I found out that Dr. Rebecca something used to own the practice and doesn't anymore because she sold it.
Oh, fun.
So now they've made me an appointment with Dr. something or other.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, whatever. So I go back there, and then I find out that I have the one male dermatologist in the whole practice who's going to look at my vagina.
Oh, Lordy B.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I am here. You know what the referral's for, so you give me the one male dermatologist.
Well, maybe he has a thing for vaginas.
Maybe. He had a bunch of kids, he told me.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, and I was like, all right, well, I mean, I've had kids. There's been lots of people up in my vagina over the years. So I was like, I'm not, and I went to the other doctor with my tampon string hanging out. So clearly I have no shame about showing my vagina all over the place. But to add to the fun part about this story, now I'm like at the end of my period.
Okay.
So I was like praying that I didn't bleed all over everything. Because I kind of was like at the very end spotting, and I wasn't really having a period anymore, and like I didn't want to go in there with my tampon string, especially because it was a male dermatologist. So I like took my tampon out.
Okay.
But like there wasn't really anything going on. But being a lady, sometimes like your spotting just keeps happening. So I was like kind of worried about that a little bit through this process. So I get in there, and his sort of like assistant or nurse, I don't really know what she was, had like come in and was talking to me about it first, and she's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's like, I found a spot on my vagina. I think it's like a mole, but it's kind of weird because it was like blue. It was like bluish.
Oh, okay.
And
strange.
not regular mole colored.
Right, yeah, okay.
So I'm talking to this lady, and she's like, oh, like, that's weird. And I was like, do you guys see, like, a lot of this stuff? She's like, no, because he's, like, the male doctor. Usually they would go to the women dermatologists. She's like, so I haven't really experienced anything like this with him. And I was like, oh, my God, this is going to be interesting.
Right? Oh, my gosh.
So, the doctor finally comes in, and well, let me back up a second. So before that, while I'm waiting, I had to take off my bottoms, put on a little sheet over myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm waiting there, but then I'm panicking that I'm bleeding all over the place. And I've like convinced myself that I can like feel the blood gushing out of me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like totally a mental issue. So every like couple of minutes, I would like go steal a paper towel from the paper towel bin and like wipe myself to see if it was bloody there. Like, I don't know what was going through my mind, Deanna.
You're freaking out. That's what
I know. This is like a whole experience. I'm like, do I have vagina cancer? Like, what's happening? Like, what's going to happen? Am I going to be able to have sex with my husband on our romantic Valentine's birthday weekend? Because he's going to be pissed if we don't, I had to like convince him to take like 3 days off of work, and he hates taking days off of work. It was a whole thing.
Right, yeah.
So dermatologist comes in, and they raise the table. I'm like, spread eagle. Everybody's looking at my vagina. And he's like, I don't know what this is.
Oh my God.
He's like
he's never seen it before.
Yeah, I mean, he said, oh, I think it's some sort of blah 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 blah. Okay. But we won't know unless we send it off. And I was like, okay. And he was like, do you want to do that today? Do you want to reschedule that for another time? And I was like, well, I'm already here. I already have my pants off. You're here, so let's
just get it over.
Punch a chunk out of my vagina.
Oh gosh.
So he's like, yeah, we'll just, numb it with a little needle, and we're going to do a punch biopsy. And you just we take a big chunk out. I was like, oh my God. Okay. This is great. So let me tell you, having needles stuck in your vagina is really painful. It's a very sensitive area.
Yes, it is.
I will tell you, after they numbed it, though, I didn't feel anything, which I'm assuming is the point, and that was nice. So I did not feel it when they punched a chunk out of my vagina and then stitched me back up.
Yep.
It had like 5 stitches in my vagina.
Oh my gosh.
Really crazy.
Yeah. I had an episiotomy once, and they were that was 8.
I also had an episiotomy once, so this is the second time in my life I've had stitches in my vagina.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is. So he did the little punchy thing and stitched me up, and then I spent a week rubbing Vaseline on my vagina stitches, and then they took them out. And now it's weird because it's like bumpy there.
Well, it's scar tissue, right?
So I try not to touch it.
Like the questions that just went through my head in rapid succession. They're just not suitable.
Everything was okay. The biopsy came back, and it was some sort of like blah, blah, blah. It was basically like blue cell something. I'm unsure.
Okay.
Blue something carcinoma, unclear. Okay. But apparently I also have red ones in that area. Like I don't see these like kind of like red marks.
Okay.
And totally normal. Okay.
Well, that's one normal thing about you, I guess.
Yeah, it's the only thing. So that was quite the experience.
Yeah, I'd say. Oh my gosh. Just having that many doctors again. Like, I mean, it's pretty bad when you have a baby because it's like you have to go every like a couple weeks, couple months.
Oh, and then they stick like wands up inside of your vagina.
It's like, it's a whole like.
I was not prepared when I was in labor. Nobody ever tells you how they find out how dilated you are. They stick their like entire hand up into your cervix.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is happening? I just got fisted. Nobody prepared me for being fisted while I was in labor. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Just like nobody prepared me that like when your water breaks, it's not like on TV and it just gushes out and that's it. I had to jam some dish towels in my vagina on the way to the hospital because it just kept leaking out for hours. All the fucking fluids. It was really disgusting.
I didn't have that problem. Like with my first, it was a pinhole like drip. Like, and I went, there's this weird like drip thing that keeps happening, and I don't know, I'm not peeing, but I don't know. And he's like, oh, it's OBGYN, called me to his office and said, let me just check you. You know, puts me up, gets the stirrups, looks and takes his hands and puts them in my vagina. Water just gusses up his arms.
Ew.
And all over the place. And of course, my first instinct is I've got to clean all of this up. Like I'm trying to get towels and I'm trying to get all this stuff out. And there's just like fluid everywhere, all over the place. And they sent me across the street, and you know, because they broke my water. So now they have to induce labor. So, of course, now I've got like 4 nurses looking at me every like 5 minutes for like a while. Because I guess after your water breaks, if you're not in labor within a certain time, there's like the baby will get stuck in your vagina. Because there's not enough fluid to get them all the way out. So it's a big deal. Of course, when I was actually dilated, they didn't believe me that I was ready to go. They told me that you know, baby's not here yet.
That's kind of what happened to me,
and they wouldn't look. And I'm like, no, look in there. Look down my vagina now. I need you to see it. And they're like, no, ma'am. There's no way you're ready. There's no way you're ready. And I'm like, I'm going to do this with or without you. So either look and tell me or not. And she's like, okay. She lifts the sheet up. She looks down there. And she's like, holy crap, call the doctor. The baby's already out. Like, it was crazy. So it's like, it's weird because people are looking inside your body.
Yeah, it's insane. That's kind of what happened to me too, because I'd gone like on a Saturday because something wasn't right, and like I don't know, like I felt like I was like leaking a little bit, and I don't know, I just felt off. So I went to the doctor, and they like, you know, put me on some monitors and stuff and sent me home. They're like, nope, you're fine. I was like, okay. And then like the next day or 2 days later, it was like right after New Year's. So Lucas was born on January 4th.
Right.
And I went into labor late on the 3rd. And we had people over for New Year's. We had a little party. And It was after the party. I was like kind of cleaning up, and I was pushing my couch back into place. I was like, "Ooh, I gotta pee." So I went to the bathroom, wiped myself up, and I stood up, and I'm like, "Why am I peeing down my legs?" So then like I was like cleaning myself up again, and then I was like, "Ooh, this smells weird." I was like, "Uh-oh, this smells like flowers." So that's what they tell you placenta fluid smells like. So I had to like, my phone was in my bedroom, and there was carpet in my bedroom, and I'm like leaking just fluid everywhere. So I like get on this towel, and I'm doing this like shimmy to the bedroom, and then I'm like trying to shimmy this towel on the rug to like get to my phone, and then I go and I stand in my tub and I call my best friend, and I was like, "I think my water broke." She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm standing in the tub." She's like, "Did you call the doctor?" I was like, "No, I called you first." She's like, "Hang up the phone and call the doctor." And I was like, "All right, I'll do that." So then I called the doctor, and he's like, "All right, well, come on in. We'll let them know you're coming." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Can I take a bath first?" He's like, "I'm sure the nurses would appreciate that." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, the guy that when I called the hospital, they told me, "Are you feeling any pain?" I'm like, "No, there's just water everywhere, and I don't know what to do." And he's like, "Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is take whatever clothes you're wearing off, and get in the shower and wash yourself really well." And then he said, "And then you can take your time getting here, because if you're not having any labor pain, you're not in labor right now. You're in pre-labor, so you have a while to go." I was like, "Okay," because my first one, I had no control over it. Like my water had been forcibly broken by the OBGYN, and they had to put me on drugs to get my labor to start so that, they could get the baby out before anything happened. And the second one, it naturally broke while I was watching Insidious, by the way, which makes it funny. It's like the scariest movie because it like made me birth a baby, right? But so I forgot where I was going now. Oh my God. So the second time I didn't know where I was with the whole like labor part because, I didn't know what a contraction really felt like. I had maybe 4 before Berkeley was actually born. So I had no idea. So I wasn't having any of those pains. He's like, "Take your time, Of course, on the way to the hospital, my husband stops at QT to get a drink, and while he's inside, the labor kicks in. I wanted to kill him because I couldn't get out of the car because it hurt so bad, and I couldn't honk the horn. Nobody was listening. It was just like it was just bad.
You're like, "Hurry the fuck up!"
Yeah. So by the time we got to the hospital, I was in a lot of pain. I've never experienced a pain like that before, But, again, I guess everything's different no matter what.
Yeah.
So, but
Nikki, labors are the same.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, when she was ready to go, she went real quick. Like it was like 5 contractions, 5 times of pushing, and she was out. So, and Berkeley was like 2. But like I said, I never really felt anything with Berkeley because I was on all the drugs to make the labor happen, and it just happened real quick.
Oh, I wish my labor happened real quick. I had kind of the same experience that I wasn't having any contractions, and they told me the same thing, like, "Take your time." And it was really funny is Lucas's father, who I wasn't really with at the time, had been with me for a few days, and he had just gone back to work that day.
Right.
Right, and he wasn't even there an hour. We had to call him and tell him I was in labor. And he didn't drive, so he had to, like, take the train back, or somebody went and picked him up, and then they came and picked me up. And when they came in, I was, like, sitting at the kitchen table in my bathrobe. I'd taken a bath. I was sitting in my bathrobe, and I was smoking a cigarette because I was a smoker at the time. Terrible, I know. But, and they were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just chilling and waiting for you guys." And they were like, "Are you in labor?" I was like "Sort of, I think." I was like, "I guess I got these dish towels jammed in my vagina, because I'm like, I got water gushing everywhere, but, we're just going to make our way to the hospital."
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't feel the pain until we got to QT. And then it was like, get me there quick. I need drugs. I need to get this fixed.
Yeah, they had to induce me because my water broke about 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the hospital. It was probably maybe around 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had nothing going on. And they said, if I didn't start having active labor, they were going to induce me in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So they started at like 5 in the morning, giving me all the inducing drugs. But man, nobody tells you how wrecked your vagina is going to be when you have a baby. At least when you had Nikki, you had already had one. So once you do it again, at least you're prepared. But I've only ever had the one birth.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever really explained to me what was going to happen after, like the special lady diapers or... I remember so vividly 2 nurses having to help me out of the bed to go to the bathroom after. But there was just this, like, I'm just leaving this fucking trail of blood all over the floor. And nobody cares about it because apparently that shit's normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, yeah. I'm like, there's just blood everywhere. My vagina is bleeding all over the floor. Like, it's like a fucking horror scene in here.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. They're like, well, it's just what happens. And then you gotta spray water at your fucking bleeding vagina, and that hurts like shit. And then in the middle of all of this, you have to try to figure out how to take care of a newborn baby.
Yep.
Like, they're like, oh, now this baby's gonna suck your tit. And I'm like, okay. How do we, can we just, can we stick a towel in my vagina so I'm not, bleeding all over the floor while I'm trying to do it? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Vaginas are scary. I hope there's no guys listening to this because we've just ruined vaginas for them.
I know, right? It's crazy. I can't. I don't know. I put all that on my head, I guess. I don't really remember bleeding all that much afterwards. I guess it just wiped, that whole post-pregnancy brain thing.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know. It's one of the few things I remember very vividly. Also, the doctor holding up my placenta.
Oh, my God.
Oh, because nobody told me I had to also push out my placenta afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
After being in labor for 32 hours.
So you want to hear what happened with me and the placenta? So when Berkeley was born... I told the nurse that I didn't want to see a drop of blood because I go into shock if I see blood. It's just kind of a thing. And it's and I knew childbirth was very bloody, but I couldn't do it. And she comes in and you know how they have to take 5 vials of your blood? And they're the big, huge things. Oh my God, she was taking blood from me forever. And she was really good about it. And she didn't show me anything. And then she walks about just far enough to where I couldn't hurt her. And then she turns around and shows me the big vials of blood. And I went after her, out of the bed. You're not supposed to show me this, just no. And she just wanted to see how serious I was about seeing the blood. And I was, very serious about it. So they made sure that I didn't see an entire drop of blood the entire time it was there. They were very, very good about it. I think that's why I don't remember any of the blood, because I told them I didn't want to see it. Yeah. And so I think they actually had somebody behind me, cleaning up so that I didn't see behind me. But Berkeley's dad decided that because I was such a butt about it when I birthed the placenta, that they asked him to cut the cord. And then the doctor said, do you want to see this? And so he's like, hold on, let me get my camera. And so in all the pictures of the newborn baby and everything else, there's this huge picture of the doctor holding up the placenta. This thing took up the entire 4x6 flipping picture. It was so flipping big. It's that thing came out of me along with the 8-pound baby. How the hell did that happen? What? It just boggles my mind.
I know. I just, and again, it's one of the things I very vividly remember is they were telling me that I had to push out the placenta, and then he was like, do you want to see it? And I was like, I guess so. And they was holding it up, this weird empty looking sack thing. I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. It's beautiful and disgusting all at the same fucking time.
Yeah, and they don't show any of that stuff in the movies at all, ever.
I know,
and it's not movies are real anyway, but I mean they could do just one movie that they give every girl when they're just ready to go, that shows exactly what it is to give birth to a child.
Yeah, there's lots of things they don't tell you. Like Lucas is a boy. Some we had to decide if he got circumcised. And then they don't tell you that, like, after you circumcise your baby, you need 500 gallons of Vaseline, which, like, I understand in my, logical brain, but after you've just been giving birth for 32 hours and you're not sleeping and you're like, oh my God, who let me come home with this baby? What the fuck were they thinking? I can't do this. I got to give this baby back. You're like, okay, now I have to worry about, like, the weird little umbilical cord thing. And then, like, putting so much Vaseline all over his penis. And I'm like, oh my God, it's, like, terrifying.
Yeah, I guess I was always lucky because I always had somebody there helping me. Like when Berkeley was born, her grandmother on her dad's side helped. And when Nikki was born, her grandmother on her dad's side helped. And by helping, came to the house and cleaned and did laundry and cooked. And all I had to do was lay in bed and breastfeed for 3 weeks. It was fabulous. So,
I'm very jealous of your experience because that was not my experience at all. Even though my son's father tried to be around, he really wasn't, and he was not very good at doing anything. And he also got his own poop on my new rocking chair that I had gotten from my friends to rock my baby.
That's
his poop, not even the baby's poop.
I don't even want to know.
His poop on the fucking rocking chair. That's a whole story for another day. But that basically just sums up my entire relationship with that guy. I told him not to sit in the rocking chair because that was my very special fucking rocking chair. And what does he do? Sits in the motherfucking rocking chair and gets his poop on it. What the fuck?
I have no words.
I know. So, moving on from that, what do you call your vagina? Let's talk about weird vagina names. What does Nikki call it? Do you guys have, like, a word you use?
No, because I wanted everything to be anatomically correct kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really. And I used to have a name for it, like, growing up, and I can't even remember what it is anymore. Like, I don't remember. It was I don't know if it was Spanish or it was Portuguese that we were using, but, I don't know. I'm completely lost with it. I can't remember to save my life.
Yeah, when I talk about it to Lucas, I always use the correct term. Like, I will say penis or vagina.
Right.
Or anus.
Right.
And there was that one time when we were in Nashville, and then I had to explain to him that pussy also meant vagina.
Yeah.
So that's always interesting. I always refer to my vagina as my Vegeta. Vegeta, which is also, I think it's a Dragon Ball Z character. And one time I was at my friend's house, and the kids were watching Dragon Ball Z, and then they just kept saying Vegeta on the TV, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a good name for a vagina. And, like, ever since, I've just always called it my Vegeta, which I just think is really funny. Or, like, hoo-ha.
Yeah.
I like Yoni a lot.
Okay, never heard of that one either.
Oh, you should look it up. Yoni is, like, it's more of like a spiritual sort of goddess term for it, kind of. Not really sure if I'm explaining that very well, but it's also like a symbol.
Okay. Yeah, no. It's like I said, I don't know what I used to call it. Now it's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to end up calling my sister, hey, do you remember what we used to call our vaginas when we were little? She's going to be like, why are you asking me this? Like, it won't be the most off the wall conversation I've had with my sister.
Be like, yeah, well, just listen to the podcast. It'll make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, moving on from that then, the other day, I don't even know how this conversation started, but so James and I, maybe we were watching TV, but we started talking about extra large penises. So, sort of related to vaginas, because if you're not a lesbian, then you put the penises in your vagina. So we were talking about really large penises, and he had asked me if I'd ever encountered one, and we talk really openly about this stuff in our past.
Yeah.
So it's not weird to talk to him about this stuff. So I was telling him about this one time, and I was living on somebody's couch. I was maybe 17.
Okay.
It was before I had gotten my first apartment, but I had moved out of my house.
Okay.
And I was staying on this woman's couch who was my friend's cousin, and she lived in the projects with all the Haitians.
Okay.
So there was this guy that she knew, and we kind of were attracted to each other, and we ended up having sex. But I remember very specifically this guy was naked and erect, and my mind said, holy shit, where the fuck does he think he's gonna put that?
Right?
Scary big. In my mind, he's swinging a baseball bat around down there. Oh my God. And I was only at this point 17. He maybe was the second person I ever had sex with.
Right.
It was very scary.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that, really. I don't know. I've had it to where my experiences with that has been it just hurt.
I don't remember the actual act with that guy, but I can picture in my mind laying down and thinking, where is that gonna go? I don't think it's gonna fit.
I had that same thought too. And the funny thing is, while it did fit, it was very uncomfortable. It's trying to put your arm up in there. You can do it. Well, not your arm, but the doctor.
Back to being fisted to your cervix to find out how dilated you are.
Right. So a whole hand can fit in there, but it's not comfortable when it's there.
Yep.
And I mean, it's how am I gonna use this to my advantage? Right. It's not gonna hit. It hits every sensitive spot, but it hits it to where it's flattening everything out because it's it's too big.
I'm afraid you're gonna poke out my asshole.
Right.
Because in one hole, out the other.
Yeah, it was not fun. Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Then there was another time.
Oh no.
I worked with this guy, and he, I don't remember where he was from, but he was somewhere in Africa.
Uh-huh.
And when he was younger, he had gotten into a really bad motorcycle accident.
Okay.
Which crushed his pelvis.
Oh, ouch.
And he lost part of his penis.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He had, he was a beautiful man. He had all these scars, and we had sex. And I remember looking at his penis and being oh my God, where are you going to put that? And how much did you have before that this is what you're fucking left with?
Oh my gosh.
Terrifying. Bigger is not always better.
I don't think so. I like to have a little wiggle room.
Yeah, and it's been my experience. I've obviously had sex with large penises. I just talked about it. I've had sex with regular sized penises, and it depends on how the other person knows how to work it.
I know,
Size
right?
is not a thing.
Never. It's always, how do they say? It's the motion of the ocean rather than the size of the waves.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's exactly how it is. Because you don't even have to have a penis to make it sex feel good.
Exactly.
So it doesn't, as long as you know what you're doing.
Hence lesbians.
Yep, exactly.
They have a great time.
Yes, they do.
No penises there.
Nope.
Maybe strap-on ones if they get bored.
Yeah, Those don't look too comfortable.
They're not uncomfortable.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it. Sometimes when I hang out with you, I feel like such a prude.
I've done some things, Deanna. Not all of them I'm proud of, but they were things I did, and I own them.
Well, it's funny though, because I used to sell them, but
Me too.
I never used them because they always look so uncomfortable. And then I'd rather just use the real thing, I think. And there was no shorter supply of that.
Yeah, there is no substitute for the real thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what I had to tell Nikki the other day? She was so smelly. I actually had to show her how to wash herself in the sink, which is traditionally known as the hoe bath. You know?
Yes, I know.
And so it's like, hey, take this rag and put them under your arms and dip under there and then do under your breasts. And
Tits, slits, and pits.
Yes. And then so I'm showing her and she's like, Mom, why do I need to wash all that? Like, because it's smelly. Because it's like,
I
so
can't be near you because fucking puberty.
Oh. I mean, she's like, I can't get her to wear deodorant. Well, I can, but she forgets a lot. And sometimes she just likes to do it just because it's funny. She thinks it's hilarious to like be stinky and put her arm in my face.
Oh my God.
And then she'll run away laughing like it's like some sort of joke. I'm like, no, that's not funny. It's just not funny.
It's not funny at all. Kids are so smelly.
I know.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I had to teach James what a hoe bath was a while ago.
Yeah?
I said, like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go take a hoe bath. He's like, what the fuck is a hoe bath? Tit, slits, and pits. Get all the right areas.
Yeah.
And move on.
Yep. Much more economical than getting in the shower sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody doesn't know what a hoe bath is.
Because most people don't have the necessity to not get into the shower. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, when I was growing up, I learned about it from my mom because I have 4 sisters and a brother, and not all of us could take a shower in the morning because there just was not enough time.
That makes sense.
So it's just like, here, these are the parts you need to wash in order to get done. And with Nikki the other day, it was just, it was like the middle of the day, and we didn't have enough time for her to get in the shower. So here's a wash rag. Here's what you need to do. Just do it. But yeah, so that's how I learned about them. And I always thought everybody knew about them because...
I know, me too. I was really surprised James did not know what a hoe bath was.
But he is an only child, right?
Yes.
And he is a boy.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, there you go right there.
Yeah.
I could see that. He would not know. Unless he, like, hung out with a bunch of girls at some point, like, lived with them for a long time. Because you get a bunch of girls in the same house, and eventually one of them's going to have to do that because too many people take way too long in the bathroom getting ready.
Yeah, I mean, before we met, he had like 2 5-year relationships, and nowhere in this time did anybody ever explain to him what a hoe bath was.
Maybe they hid it from him.
Maybe. I don't hide stuff. I just talk about whatever's on my mind.
Obviously.
It's my best quality. That's the end of our bitching for today.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Bathrobe Bitches. In this episode, we ran about how Lynda ended up with vagina stitches, hoe baths, and what they neglect to tell you about childbirth.
If you want more bitching between episodes, find us at bathrobebitches.com or on social media. On Facebook, we are at Bathrobe Bitches, but there's no I in bitches. And because Instagram is less of an asshole, you can find us at Bathrobe Bitches there. See you on the next episode. Bye for now.